Will Governor Crist go independent in his run for the U.S. Senate? And how does the dark shadow of statewide politics affect the second half of the legislative session? The legendary Lucy Morgan of the St. Petersburg Times is our special guest on this edition of Power Play. It's not just a Florida political story, it's the biggest story in national politics. Will Governor Charlie Crist become an independent in his run for the U.S. Senate? Everybody's talking about it.
Sure, I saw it on the morning news this morning. I think a month ago I would have said no. Now I think he's sending smoke signals to indicate that perhaps he might do that. He's at odds with his own party. He's at odds with the legislative leadership, and I think it's become a distinct possibility.
So he's done some things that give rise to this rumor that's getting stronger and stronger, and a lot of that has come with what he's vetoed and what he said he's got troubles with.
Absolutely. He vetoed a leadership fund bill that was very dear to the hearts of the legislative leaders, current and future. But it
won him some editorial praise.
It did. It's a recreation of leadership funds, which have been described as slush funds. And it was not as good of an artful job of recreating them as they could have done. There was not much transparency in it. So he vetoed it. The editorial boards love it. He's threatening the education reform bill that would take away teacher tenure, which the teachers all over the states are up in arms about. There are teachers appearing sobbing before committees. Little school children are writing hate mail to legislators. This could play into an independent campaign.
But the legislature has largely ignored dozens of teachers testifying about the draconian effects they say this bill will have. And they've ignored that, and it's sailing right through the legislature. But the governor is now steaming Republican leaders with his opposition to these policy
Not
issues.
the least of which would be former Governor Jeb Bush, who's having the best session he's ever had here 2 years out from being governor. These are his reforms, make no mistake about it. And this would be yet another chance for the sitting governor to declare his independence from the past governor.
So it's very clear the shadow of statewide politics in 2010 eclipses any single policy issue in this 2010 session.
I think that's true, yes. That we are looking at an undercurrent in the public which is anti-incumbent, anti-status quo in a lot of things. Now you add to that the level of anger they're creating among teachers, environmentalists, and other constituencies out there. That is going to make this November very hot.
Let's take a deeper look at Charlie Crist as an independent. He's running behind Marco Rubio in polls for a GOP primary in the Senate race. As an independent, he skates without a primary. He's on the November ballot, and there are lots of things he could do to strengthen his hand for a possible victory in November.
Absolutely. He does not. He tried early in this campaign to do what I call a Gallagher. Tom Gallagher tried to remake himself into a far right-wing Republican after having been a moderate for many years. It looked to me like the governor was trying to do that, not relying on the lesson of the recent past. Now it looks like he may be coming back to the center, which is what I'm sure is giving rise to everybody's belief that he might be about.
And where is the Florida electorate? Are they as far right as the Republican leadership?
I think the Florida electorate is dead center, that they are not far right or far left. Now, that's not true of the Republican Party, which seems to be daily carving itself more into the right corner.
But didn't Charlie Crist win most of his statewide races by appealing not only to Republicans but to independents
Absolutely.
and moderate Democrats?
Absolutely.
So can he put together a winning formula?
I think he could. I think that he is more centrist than his party and has always been. This is a guy who years ago even cast a vote that prevented restrictions on abortion. His party would castigate him for that right now. And so he is to the center, and running as an independent would not be a bad fit for him.
It would be a stunning and brilliant piece of bravado and yet high risk, but it would turn him into a national figure all over again for different reasons and take some of the wind out of the Marco Rubio sails as the national Republican darling, wouldn't it?
I think it would. I think that if he runs as an independent and with the candidates become Marco Rubio, Kendrick Meek, and the governor, name ID alone would help him in this. I'm sure the Republicans would spend every cent they've got and could raise, which is formidable, to try to defeat him. But it would be fun to watch.
Well, it makes that October 19th date for a statewide live debate for Leadership Florida and the Florida Press Association must-see TV.
A plug, if you will.
I will. How about your power play of the week, Lucy Morgan?
Oh, I think it's clearly the governor's veto pen. He's already vetoed one thing very dear to the hearts of the legislative leaders. He's threatening another. And if he does that, I think it's a clear signal that he's looking at leaving his party.
And the biggest deadline looming in front of Florida right now is not the April 15th income tax deadline.
It's April 30th.
And that's the decision date for the governor.
Right. If he wants to run as an independent, he has to make up his mind by then. It also happens to coincide with the last day of the legislature, if memory serves me right.
So he does his job and then announces possibly. Lucy Morgan, you are a living legend. I hope you'll come back and join us before the end of session again.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. For the latest political news, go to the Safety Review, and we'll see you next time on Power Play.